Good morning. Good morning, Lee. How are you? Linda, good morning. How are you doing today? Looking forward to Thursday. I know everybody seems to be. It's going to be a great day. Let's just give everybody a couple seconds here to come in and then we'll get going. I've got lots of stuff for you guys today. We're doing the Artisan Curve Marquee templates, and the sizes of these templates from smallest to largest is vast. It really is. And these templates are numbered from 80 to 88. So there are 8 different sizes. And what I'm going to show you first is the smallest size, which is a 1/2 inch by 1 inch. Okay. The largest is 2.5 inches by 5 inches. So you can see just the whole gamut of these, and there's so much we can do. There just is so much. Good afternoon, Jenny. Good to see you. Judith is here from Kentucky. Good morning, Regina, my friend from North Georgia. I hope you guys are having better weather. We had a lot of downpours yesterday, and some of them were quite heavy. And today it has cooled off considerably. So I actually think I'm going to wear a sweatshirt today. Oh, Linda, you have the template in the biggest size. That is amazing, isn't it? It's awesome. Carla, good morning from Oklahoma, and Faye, all the way from Perth, Australia. We're so happy to have you here. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you just some different things. And although what we see is a whole lot of lines here, I'm going to keep them a little bit simpler today to start with. I think that coming in with this many lines can get confusing if it's the first time you're using this template. Okay, if we look in the directions here, we're going to notice that this template has the same instructions for the other artisan curves that we've used. One thing I do want to cover with you, and I think this is kind of important. What I felt like is when I was getting the artisan curves, I felt as though I should get the whole series in the curve that I'm getting. In other words, I'm going to move through number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that doesn't mean inches, okay? Those are just the template numbers for circles. And diamonds has a whole lot of them. Diamonds has 9. The iris has 4. The peak has 9 as well, 10. I'm sorry, 10 as well. Teardrop has 4. The Persian peak, I have not tried some of these yet, has 5. Ovals has 7, and I do have the ovals, and I do have the curved marquise, and that is again from 80 to 89. So that is 10 templates, and the square has 4 templates. Now we've done the square in the past, and I know that everybody was really excited about it. So I did go ahead and order them. I'm anxiously waiting for those to come in so that we can see what those are capable of doing. Kim, RFD, good morning. Nice to see you. And Jenny has 81, 85, and 86. And that's awesome. Evelyn is here. Sandy, Jen, you made it. You made it. Okay, Evelyn Johnston's here. Evelyn, do I see you twice or are you two different people? Oh, okay, awesome. So let's take a look at what we did here. The first design that we're going to look at this morning is done with 3 of the templates. And they are template 80, 81, and 82. So they are the three smallest. And I'm not using them as intended, of course, because that's just the way I like to roll. Get some of this stuff out of the way here for you. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. Danielle is here from Quebec, and Carol's here. Hi, Carol. Susie, good morning. Linda, hi from the Lower Peninsula. I love those Michiganders. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is kind of just going to come out here. Now, we could go one extra, and I just might pull out my number 4 if it's easy to find. 0, okay, so I've got 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's the number 3 I need to pull out, not number 4. And I can tell I've not used this one yet. And the way that I can tell that is I have no staple tape on it. And I'm not going to make you guys wait for staple tape, okay? So let's go ahead and let's just line these up one on top of another, because I think it's kind of fun to do that. And you'll notice I've got needle channels. I'm so excited. I love the needle channels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up from the largest to the smallest. And I'm going to line them up at the top. Okay. Now you could line them up either way. Definitely could. But lining them up from the top, and I'm going to pull this back so you can see it better. There we go. The top always stays the same, but look at how it elongates. The first from 81 to 80, I'm sorry, from 80 to 81 has a really long portion in here. When you come to 82 and 83, they're pretty even. But this from 80 to 81 is really long. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what I've got. Well, thank you, Tammy. Hi, Catherine. Susie from San Antonio. Jean Hart is here. Awesome. Oh, Jane, you snuck in. I didn't see you. You have the circle ones. Yes, so do I, Jane, and I love them. I absolutely love them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 16-point reference lines on my handy dandy little square here. These are made to use the pin. Okay, so you will have to have the pin. These little things are called pin marks. You could do the same thing with cutting an eraser off the tip of a pencil, but I can't afford to cut the erasers off the tips of my pencils because I make too many mistakes. So I just go ahead and get some pin bars, and it keeps me from accidentally hitting that when I'm doing my designs. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to, and you'll see what I did here, and I urge you to do this. Definitely write down the templates that you're using and how you're using them, okay? Because for my first template, I'm only going to make a half rotation. My second template, a half, and if I go up to number 83, the third one will only receive a rotation as well. And I've set that on my marker here at 4.5. And that does equate to 4.5 inches for the entire rotation. It does not mean 4.5 inches from here to here. It's 4.5 inches from here to over here. Okay. So we're going to pretend this is line number 1. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, well, hello, if I can grab that thread, I'm going to grab my thread. I'm going to, yeah, it's good. Pull my bobbin thread up because we all know that I like to do that. And There we go. I do like to keep it underneath the template. It just seems like it's out of my way better down there. Okay, so I'm looking directly over the camera, so you bear with me. I'm just going to move you guys a little bit. This is a new camera boom I'm using. I'm getting used to it. I hope I don't make you seasick with it. Okay, so here's my first stitch in place. And then we're going to stitch only half of the template. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to pick up all the other templates that I just dropped behind me. If you ever look up the word klutz in a dictionary, you're going to see my name next to it. My husband, my poor husband, he's always picking up after me because I drop so many things. Okay, you can see this one's a little older. I've actually got a gate in this one. So we're just going to go ahead and put that on. Put that back down. And you could go ahead and put it this way so you have the number that you want. I'm going to move these aside so you don't have to watch me try to find them again. And on this one, I believed it was 8.5 inches. So we're going to come around here and I'm going to go 8.5. Now, sometimes with my foot here, I get hung up because I've got a slant shank machine, and that does tend to get kind of hung up there at certain times. Not always, just once in a while. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is adjust my foot again. Oh, this thing is going to give me heck this morning, isn't it? Okay, something's cattywampus here, but we're going to persevere, okay? So here is my number 2. No, my number 1. I've done 80, and this is 81. Now we're putting 82 in. Make sure I've got the right one. So 82 goes in. We are placing that on 13.5. And it's going to come right here, 13.5. I'm going to go ahead and slip it around this way. And I think this is all we can do on the straight on pieces. I got something under there. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so we're going to do a complete rotation on this one. And again, this is number 82. And we're going to come back to stop here. Lift my needle up. Oh, I love them. I love them. I can't afford to buy all new ones, though. And this is going to go back on 8.5 inches. Okay. And now, whoops, my tape got in the way there. No worries. We're just going to move it aside. There we go. And now we're going to make sure we're lined up here on our vertical center line. And we're going to come back to our number 80 template. Again, going to take this off. A lot of turning. That's okay. It works. Okay, that one's going to go there. And I need my number 1. Or my number 0. I'm sorry. My number 0 was 80. And I'm going to put that there. And remember, that goes on pin number 40 or 4.5. Just want to make sure that I'm all lined up, and I am. Now the big question, how do we get to the next reference line? Okay, I bought a tube of replaceable erasers. Oh, Jan O'Grady, this is awesome. She got a bottle, a tube of replaceable erasers for mechanical pencil at the Dollar Tree. What a great idea. Tammy, thank you. I'm glad to hear I'm not making anybody ill. Good morning, Jane. Okay, we're having, okay. Next question. How do we get from one to the other? If you remember, whoops, just because I said that, I went all wonky. I am so sorry. These things have more little screws and stuff. So I'm at reference line 1. I want to get to reference line 2. I'm just going to stitch slowly. And there we go, reference line 2. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to come up on my one side. It does not matter which side either. It really doesn't. And we're going to make sure your needle is in, though. That's really important. You definitely want that in. So here comes my little nemesis here, 81. And we're putting that at 8.5. There we go. And you'll see with this particular machine how much more difficult it is to get the gates in than it does to get the needle guide in. Okay, so we're going to go up here. And you know, for that side, I actually could leave the gate out. I don't really need it for that. And this is number 83. So 0, 1, I need 2. Okay, there's my 2. Going to put that in. That one, again, is going to go on the 13.5 inch. Right there. Put my foot down. I don't have anyone here helping me with moderating comments this morning, so I'm trying to do my best. Okay, about dollar stores for $1. Jan, yeah, that's just perfect. It's a whole lot cheaper than these Penmoys too. Okay, so now this is my second line, my second rotation. And again, I'm going to stop at my marquee number 82. Okay. When we get to the corner, so now I'm going to put 81 back in. When we get to the corner, oops, what did I put? Oh, 81 goes on 8.5. Okay. We're going to put another one in, because we've got more room. And what this is going to do, this would be like a great design if you're doing blocks. And by putting that third template on, you're making this circular design flip into a block. It flips into a square block. And I think that's cool. That really is. It works out well. Okay, so here's my 80. There we go. And again, this goes on 4.5. Just going to line up my vertical line here and come down. Now, this also would be a really cool template if we wanted to template this. Now, I'm going to come over to my reference line number 3. There, I think we got it. And again, I am going to put half of my template here. I'm going to make sure that I'm lined up on the line. Go halfway up. And now this one we have to remember because we're going to put an extra template in this one. So that was half of number 80. And this is going to be half of number 81. And we put that in at 8.5. Right there. Don't need to worry about that gate because I'm only stitching on the right side. Sadly, we can't turn it around to do it when we come back down. My foot just let loose on me. Boy, can I tell it's morning. It's okay. We'll survive it. So there's 81. And now I'm looking for 82. And that's going to be right here. And this one's going to go to 13.5. There we go. Now this time we are only going to do the right side. Okay. So let's see how this goes by putting the 80. Which one are we putting in next? We're going to put the 83 in. Okay, so there's 82. Here's 83. Now, what you're going to notice between 82 and 83 is that really the width is not all that much different, but the length is different. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw that in. And look at here. We don't have enough holes here. Let me show you what I mean. There's not enough holes to put our pin in. Are we doomed? Wow, there you go, Jane. Good idea. Good idea. She says, Jane tells us that she has a quilt that she finished years ago before she even knew about this. So now she's going to go back and quilt the center blocks with the templates that she has. I'm so glad to hear that because we don't have to go out and buy new templates every time we want to do something. Our templates are set up so that you can do many, many different things with one template. Okay, so how am I going to resolve this issue? Well, it's going to be very simple. I am just going to line my vertical crosshair and I'm going to stitch all the way around. So what you've learned here is that, you know what? If it doesn't have a hole for your tack, you can still use it, no problem. And that's what we just did there. So you see how this brings this out to be more square than circular. So that was 83. So we're going to put 82 in. And 82 goes in at 13.5 inches. There we go. And now we're going to come down on the left-hand side. Okay, there we go. Make sure that needle is in. Sometimes with this machine, I tend to pull it up a little too high. And here comes my 81 with the gate. At this time, I do need to close it. The more you use them, the easier they become. That's the nice thing about them. And now we're going to stop here. We're going to put number 80 back on, and we're going to finish that rotation. And this goes in at 4.5 inches. Oh, I got cattywampus here. And again, it's because of that silly little foot in the back. It's just weird. But then again, I guess it would be correct because I'm a little weird too. So weirdness sticks together. Okay, and we're finishing up number 8. And now again, I'm going to show it one more time. How we're going to get to the next line is we're just going to go ahead and keep our hands just lightly on our template, and it will bring us right to the next reference line. So here is one little design that we got today that, as I said, it's not the way it was intended to be used, but you know what? It's okay. It works. I'm going to back you up a little bit so you can see more of it. I really, really like that. Good morning, Carla. Yes, we could turn it over. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Susie, yes, this would work very well on the Cali quilt that we're doing. We're all a little weird, Kathy. I'm glad to hear that. That's why we all congregate. Beth, good morning. I didn't see you sneak in there from Tennessee. So here is the one thing that I had going for us. Now I want to show you another one that I would consider, and my pin popped out here. I would consider this to be kind of useful on a modern block. You know, I know modern quilting is getting more and more popular. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't myself practice modern quilting, but that's okay because I'm an old lady. Good morning, Terry. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Okay, there. Had to get my little caffeine jolt for the next one. The next one that I'm going to show you is this. Okay, so what I used is I used 81 and 82 on here. However, I want you to know you can use any 2 templates as long as they're Curve Marquise templates, that is. And it's going to give you the same look. So if you want something really big, we're going to put in 2 bigger templates. So let's do that on this one, okay? We want to make it a little bigger. I used 81 and 82. So I am going to use, let me get my templates out here. How about 85 and 84? So let's do 84 and 85 and see how this works, okay? And again, another template that I have not used. The nice part about it, I have a needle channel. I love the needle channels. Okay, now another question that has come up. Do we really need stable tape on these? And the answer is that's a personal preference. Okay. Jane's here from Arizona asking me what machine I'm using. Jane, am using a Singer 301. And most everybody knows the background of this machine. My husband bought it for himself. He asked me if I'd like to try it, and I said, absolutely, I would like to try it. And he had to go out by himself another one because I wouldn't give this one back. It truly is my favorite ruler work machine and free motion machine. Okay. There are times I have to go into a larger machine if my quilt is kind of big. So usually it's anything from a double size quilt on up. I do pull out a larger machine. I hope that helps. And the other thing is that it only weighs, I'm not sure, I shouldn't say that. It's light compared to most of the machines these days. So Okay, so you can see my Curves 85. I've had it for a while. I've used it. Back to the question of the stable tape. Do you absolutely have to have it on there? No, you don't. It is personal preference. However, I find that I am more accurate when I have my stable tape at my pressure points when when I'm stitching. Okay, move you just a little bit. There we go. So I do have them on. So now this one that I'm going to show you, we're going to come out. Let's do, okay, pin 12, pin 11 and a half. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take the smaller of the two, which is the Artisan Curves 84, and we're going to slip that on at, I want to make sure I've got this right, 11 and a half. Okay. Now, I want to make this easy on myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, excuse me, in 2 passes. I'm going to set my 85 away right now. And we're pretending we're on line 1 again. I like to pretend. Okay. So I'm going to do a complete rotation here on line 1. If I can find my press, there we go. I found my foot. I lost my foot. 1 in place. And I know you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me say things like, remember when we're doing a curve, we want our stitches to be a little smaller. When we come to a point such as this, we want to just hesitate. Take that 1 or 2 extra stitches there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch over the same way I did on my last one. I'm just going to stitch over to my next reference line. Now, a couple of things. If you have the star connector from the Starry Nights, you can switch your template out and use that, or you can use your circles on quilts if you're uncomfortable with doing it kind of freehand like that. Okay, so now we're going to come off on reference line number 2. And remember, these are getting close together, but I'm not concerned about that. Okay, and we're going to come around again. I just kind of lightly hold it there so it doesn't decide it's got a mind of its own and takes off someplace. You want to make sure that you've got that upper line correct. There we go. And we're going to come around. We're going to do 1 more rotation after this. This is done with 16 rotations or 16 reference lines. I do tend to always like working in 16 because I mark myself in 16. And it's okay to do that because if you don't use 8 of them, they're going to just disappear when you get rid of the other 8 reference lines. So don't worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and cut this thread off. While I'm doing that, I'll check for any questions. Okay, Linda, thank you so much for coming in. So you need to take off. I understand that. Okay, Lee asked, what is it that I like so much about the Singer 301? The Singer 301 to me has a superb straight stitch. Okay, it's not made to do anything but stitch forwards and backwards, and it does it well. It does it very well. The other thing is, if I ever run into problems, I can fix it myself. It's all mechanical. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been stitching with this one now about 5 years on this machine, and no, more like 6 years on this machine. And I had another 301 that I had in my quilt shop when my shop was open, and neither one of those machines ever needed service. But that's the good part of it. And Susie, we'll see you later. Thank you so much for dropping by. Okay, so that's the good news about it. Now, there's always going to be a but, right? And the but is you have to oil and grease these machines. You do have to maintain them. It's not like a regular like a new machine now where you don't go in and you don't oil and you don't clean and you just um, bring it to your dealer once a year and let them do all the dirty work. We do the dirty work ourselves, and it's really not that bad. It's not hard to do. It takes very little time. And what I do is I oil my machine every other day, which may seem like a lot to some people. However, I'm sewing on my machine every day for probably at least 8 hours, sometimes more. So it needs to be oiled that often. I also change my needles often. I've always told my students needles are cheap, repairs are expensive. Change your needles often. You can buy them. I buy, and I don't want to I don't want to advertise a brand here, so I'm going to kind of do this. I buy them in little containers like this. I get 100 needles at a time. And it's inexpensive to do them this way as opposed to buying the little cards that you see. My husband did some research as to the difference between buying needles in a quilt shop as opposed to a big box store. And they are not made the same, just so you're aware of it. They are not made with the same process, and they are not. Oh, what did I do here? Okay, so that's 84, this is 85. Whoops. They definitely are not used with the same process. The ones in the big box stores usually are stamped, not extruded. And what you want is you want extruded needles, not stamped needles, because stamped needles can leave little burrs in them. So I'm going to go ahead and put 83 in here because 85 did not really come out exactly the way I was planning for it to, but this will. Okay. So again, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Okay. If I went all the way around, I would just keep going. So here we go. And you'll see that the reason that I did it this way is so that we weren't breaking thread and, having to stop and change our template each time. So now I'm just going to go ahead, stitch along that line. And this is easy to do. Take your time. Take your time, definitely. This is a journey. It's something that we do because we love it, not because we want to hurry up and get through it and do something else, right? I mean, I could spend all day doing this. I really could. Okay, so here's my next one. Isn't that beautiful? Now, if you had the little curly Q, you could put a little curly Q in here if you wanted. Or you could, well, no, that wouldn't work. You could definitely do some embellishment in there. Free motion, if you like to do free motion. How many of you gals in here are free motioners? Mahia, good evening from Australia, Melbourne. Good to see you. Kim, nice to see you. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad Kim is giving a history of quilts and demoing how to make a mug rug using a featherweight. Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Um, if you are a free motion person, you easily could put different designs in here. The other thing that I think would look really, really nice on this inside is cross hatching. Okay, and we're going to come this way. I'm not taking the time that I should be taking, but I am trying to keep it somewhat in the lines. Okay, so there we go. And again, remember I said I really think that this would go nice on a modern quilt. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got the outside of the motif. Okay. However, we're going to do it inside too, just because we can. Okay, so I'm going to take, I use the 85. So I gotta find it because I've got so many of these out now. I can't find them all. Oh, but that's okay. Okay, that's 84. Oh, there it is. No, it's not. I thought it was, but it's not. Okay. So you know what? No worries. Not to worry. There it is. And I went ahead and I put this on pin number 7, which is the first one here, right there. Okay. So what I've done is I'm going to come up and around and stop. I'm lining up on line number 1, reference line 1. I'm going to stop when I hit reference line 2. Even though I'm lined up on reference line 1, that's where I'm going to start. Hold that thread up. Can you believe I actually have matching bobbin thread today? Well, goodness. That does not want to come up for me. What in the world? Okay. You know what? Those things happen. It's not a problem. We're just going to take that bobbin out. Take a look at it. Looks good. There we go. Get it moving nice and smooth again. Put it down. And back we're going to go. Now, one thing I've got to tell you is if I didn't have my glider on here, which of course I pretty much always do. So what I want to show you is the way that this table is set up. I don't have to remove the table to take my bobbin out. It's right there. So that is just, I think, one of the real perks of the So Steady table. They think of everything for us. Okay, I don't normally use tape. I don't normally have to. However, I've been stitching pretty nonstop since yesterday. So I think it's important that I'm able to keep it down. I just haven't had time to clean it, okay? Cleaning is kind of a afterthought. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this way. And the reason I'm going to hold it this way is because that little pin right here on the 301 sometimes gets stuck on there. I don't know why. It does not happen all the time, just occasionally. But what I want to do is I want to protect that. Okay, so there we go. Pick it up. Come down. Now remember, we're going to stitch out to this line, reference line number 2, and then back to the center, okay? Take that one stitch in place, and you'll see how beautiful, soft curve that makes. And we're going to stop right here and come back. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and tip that template so that this line of stitching meets the template and come out and do a second line. Where would I stop? I would stop just beyond that first line of stitching, just like that. That really gives us a little something extra, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch over to reference line 2. And need to come a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Come over, stop at reference line 3, come back in, and I'm going to twist my template, go all the way out. I'm going to come out a little past the reference line or the stitch out that I did on the first one. And now I want to move my template. I'm going to twist my template over to the next. This would be 3, reference line number 3. Remember, take your time. Sometimes I find with the old machines, the screws that are holding the foot on do tend to vibrate a little bit and come loose. Minor issue as far as I'm concerned. Now you see that I have to turn this because that pin is holding me up just a little bit. No worries. Okay, so now I'm going to come out and do this third one up a little higher and come back down. And back into the center. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and lift that up and out of there. And we're going to take a look and you tell me what you think. Okay, get all that thread. My goodness, I've got a half a spool of thread in there. So this is another way to make just embellishing a design just a little bit. What holds the pin in? Terry, that's a great question. It just stays in because the pin is coming up from the back. So what happens is the table, I guess, would definitely hold the pin down. Sometimes what I will do is I will put a little tape, painter's tape or RK embroidery tape on it, but I don't do it often, and I really kind of don't like to because it seems like it always gets taken off by my slider catching it, which is definitely, I mean, it's supposed to work that way. Patsy, it's okay. You can be late. Marie, you too. Yeah, it's I like Carla's statement here. She said, do both whatever the quilt is asking for. Your quilts will ask you for designs. They will say, oh, this would look great on here. That would look great on there. Obviously, they don't tell you in English words, But they do. But they do. So anyway, let's take. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I like this one. I think it's kind of cool. You could just do this part of it for a center when you've got these coming out. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Okay, I have two choices. I have A or I have B. So you guys tell me, which one do you want me to do? This is letter A, and this is letter B. I feel like Alex Trebek. B. Okay, Jane votes for B. Susie, Regina, Sandy. Well, Anita, everybody looks like they like the B better. So that's what we'll do, okay? The B is a little more complicated. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not quite as easy, but then again, it's okay. And it could be that it wasn't quite as easy because as I was drawing it out, I wasn't drawing it out quite the way it should be, okay? So let's see if we can make it a little easier on you guys. So what I'm using here is I'm using number 86. There's 85, 87, there is 86. Okay, and we're using 32 reference lines on here, guys. 32. Don't be afraid of 32. It's only twice of 16, right? Yeah. Last time I checked, it was. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the tag on number 13 to start with. Okay. And I'm going to tell you straight out, after I did this, I looked at it and went, boy, did I do that bad. I didn't need to do that. I made that part a lot harder than it was. So you know what? For you, I'm going to make it a lot easier than it was. Okay, tag 13 is right here. So what we're going to do on tag 13 is we're going to stitch down and back to the lines. Okay, so we're going to pretend this is 1. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my thread up. I want to make sure you can see. Okay. There we go. Get that thread up. And did I... You know what? I didn't. I have a bad habit of not cutting. Not cutting my bobbin thread. No, they're all cut. Okay. Well, that one came out. Oh, I love it. I can do some of the weirdest things. And you know what? I don't even get angry over it. That's the funny part about it, unless it's a computer. Then forget it. Okay. Life's too short to get upset, hey? Okay, we're gonna pretend. Now we're not even gonna pretend there's a line over here. We're just gonna go ahead and do half of this motif, or just start it on 2. Let's just start on 2, pretending we're number 1. Okay. Now we're gonna do this again. I'm going to start in the center, and what's going to happen is I'm going to double stitch this first rotation, this first go around, okay? And down we go. Lining up my vertical line, I'm going to stitch to the line previous and the one that comes before before the line we're on and after the line we're on. So let's go ahead and we're just going to come up here. We're going to stop. We're going to come back here. Okay. And now we're going to do the same in the other direction. Come here. Stop. Oops, I did that wrong. We're going to stop right there. We're not going to go back. Okay. I almost messed up. Okay, let's get those threads out there. Of course, it probably isn't going to be the only time today that I'm going to almost mess up or really mess up. I don't know. Now I'm going to just twist my template. And what you're going to see is it might be a little bit off like mine is here. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to come back down. And you'll see that when I need it, it's fine. And we're going to come back up and stop on the next line. I overshot that line just a hair. Doesn't matter. Come down. And we're going to come back up. We're going to stop on that next line. Remember, we're not going to go all the way. Okay, and come down. And come back up. I'm going to do this one more time, guys, okay? Down. And back up. Okay. That is our first pass. Okay. I'm going to look over and see if we have any questions. Good morning, Jean. Looks good. You look good. Thank you. Oh, Anita likes them both. Yeah, Judith, Catherine, Anita, Terry, Regina, everybody picked B, which is the harder of the two. So that kind of makes me happy, I guess. Okay, so this one, and we're only using one template here, too. So you have to remember that. Okay, I'm going to get a quick drink of caffeine here. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the beginning. And now we're going to switch our tack to number 14. Ooh, back this way. There we go. I was way up. Okay. There we go. Start on number 1. Now, what we're going to do on this is we are going to make this every other one look like it's in front of the one before it. Okay. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense now, but it will in a minute. Okay. So on this one, I am going to start at that reference line 16. Because this particular one will not be stitched in its entirety. We're only going to stitch down and we're going to stitch back up to reference line number 2. So from 16 to 1 and now to 2. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to rotate our template and we're going to stitch a whole rotation on this one. It doesn't matter which way you go. We're going to have to travel. That's the only bad part about it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go counterclockwise. Now, if I were in Australia, I would say anti-clockwise instead of counterclockwise. Slowly but surely, I'm learning some of those words that are a little different than ours. For example, in Australia, we don't call batting batting, we call it wadding. And I believe in the UK we call it wadding as well. Okay, so now I've done my double line of traveling. I'm coming back to that reference line. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to only stitch the bottom half of this from reference line to reference line. Okay. And I'm going to stop on that next reference line. I'm going to twist my template, and if I have to make another stitch to adjust, no problem. Again, I'm going to go counterclockwise. I'm just going to keep all the heaviness in one spot on this one. Yep. For a second there, I thought maybe I was only supposed to do one, but I do need to go all the way around on this one. As long as you don't move that template, it definitely does a great job traveling for us. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to twist my template. I'm going to make a couple stitches here to adjust. No big deal. It really isn't. That's why they call us experts, because you guys all know how to make those adjustments. Yes. Total faith in you guys. Okay, so down we come. And again, this is a partial. Okay, so I've ended at the partial. Now what I can do is I can make this easy on myself and just come up here and drop my foot. Okay, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across the top. Oh, no, 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 I'm not. Don't do that. You're going to want to start at the beginning again. I'm so sorry. Definitely want you to get the right information. So this is the first go round. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come back up here and we are going to put this tack on 14. And guess what? Third drop. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we are 1/4 of an inch away when we reach this. And you'll see I'm not, because I'm not lined up correctly, but there I am. I am 1/4 of an inch away. So I am now going to start on this reference line 16. There it is. Boy, my bobbin thread is having some issues this morning. No worries. Okay, so now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to stitch up and around. Okay, now when we come to this one, we are going to travel. And my suggestion, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. It depends on how OCD you are too. If you're real OCD, what I would do is I would go ahead, end that thread, and you can do it just by doing that and coming all the way over. Come over here. And we're going to pull it back up. And I know I don't have my bobbin thread clipped, but it's easy enough to do. Just going to clip that tip off. There we go. Well, goodness, there. There's the one that disappeared. Here's the one that's being camera shy. I don't know why it's doing this. Oh, because it's the wrong thread that I'm pulling. Well, leave it to me. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull that thread back up, bobbin thread this time. Then I'm going to line myself up. And I've got another half a bobbin up here, which is the way I roll. And I'm going to go now from this line over to this line. And we're going to stop there. Now, if you want to, what you can do is you can go ahead and measure this. And I think it needs to come down. I had it on the wrong hole, guys. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and we're going to travel. See how easy that is to do. We're going to stop right here on this line. And we may need to take an extra stitch or two, no worries. And we're going to come up. And we're going to come back down. Now, we can do one more thing to this, I think would finish it off nicely. Let me get some of these threads out of here. Okay, so you don't need to break off here. What you're going to do is go to 14.5. And we're just going to pretend I've cut my thread, okay? And I got it off a little bit here. There we go. See, I had to make a little adjustment there, but that's no big deal. And if you want, you can go bigger than that 1/2 inch, because when you do a 1/2 inch, it's really only 1/4 inch. And here we go. And one more time. Now, what's interesting, you see here, this is where I had the template on the wrong hole. Okay, so how can I fix that? Well, I can fix it by going up. Actually, I think that was the only one I was off on. Yeah, I'm right. That was the only one I was off on, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you can go up or down as far as you want on this. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. I was on 14.5. I'm going to go up to 15.5. Okay. And I'm going to come up and around and stop here. So if you want to make it echoed more, if you really like the idea of echoing, there we go. You can echo even bigger on this. So these are just some of the things. If I was going to echo more, I think I would get a larger template here. I'd go with the 87 and then the 88. Patsy, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys like it. I really do. I really do. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week, but I'll make sure to get it out as quickly as possible. It will be towards the back of the alphabet because we're going backwards and forwards. Oh, let me take a look here. They're not far away. Oh my gosh. How about strand of pearls. What do you think of that? So this will be our next week. Strand of pearls, 1-inch pearls. We will do some designing with that, and we'll come back together. Tuesday night, we have the Spin and Echo number 12. Wednesday morning, we're going to do Strand of Pearls, 1-inch. So, oh, Anita, that's nice to hear. You know, everybody learns differently. And, you know, I'm a doer. I have to do it and make my mistakes. But that's okay. Thank you, Linda. I really appreciate it. Couple things I just want you to take the time to do if you can. One of them is to go to SoStay.com. Under the Education tab, there are instructor pages. If you find what I'm providing for you guys is valuable, please go in there and let SoStudy know. They do monitor those comments, and so they are really important. They are really important that we get those comments. So the other thing is to make sure to put in there what you might want to see me do next time or down the line too. Post pictures in Westerly by me, please, so we can take a look at what you're up to. The other thing, don't forget to subscribe. I'm not sure. Thumbs up and share, I think it is. Anyway, Sandy, you have a great day as well. And I do appreciate you all being here. So until we meet again, let's quilt.